Hello and welcome back. Now that you're here, we can introduce the topic of today's video, the Master of Souls, Special Grade Cursed Spirit Mahito. In this discussion, I will explain why Mahito himself is an underrated character in terms of power, talent, and genius, and I will also make a case for how Mahito's curse technique, Idle Transfiguration, could be the single most powerful curse technique in all of the story's history, beating out reality warpers like Takaba and people with complete control of space like Gojo as the single most terrifying and effective technique of all time. We'll begin by going over Mahito's personal stats. I find most people are under the impression that Mahito is only durable due to his technique's ability to effectively negate any damage that doesn't interact with his soul. This is simply not true. Itadori Yuji, who completely bypasses this trait, landed 2 black flashes on Mahito directly after he was already reduced to about 40% power from his clone being destroyed and having already been hit with a black flash, in addition to suffering the burnout from his recent domain expansion. This means that a severely weakened Mahito was still durable enough to survive 3 total black flashes from Yuji before he could no longer fight. By the end of their battle, Mahito had evolved to the point that Yuji felt he was incapable of damaging Mahito without the use of Black Flash, that exponentially increases Yuji's attack potency by a factor of 2. This feeling Yuji had was later confirmed by Gege in author's notes. For the sake of comparison, Yuji claims that Mahito's body is harder than Choso's blood armor. This comparison is very credible considering it had happened very shortly before the statement. This is significant because we see Choso's blood armor is strong enough to allow him to tank a black flash from true form Sukuna, and continue to assist in the battle later on in the story. These facts place Mahito's durability at the end of his final battle among the top tiers even well after the Shibuya arc is over. Mahito's durability isn't his only outstanding stat. Even while in the previously mentioned nerf state at about 40% power with a burnt out technique, Mahito was able to land a black flash and completely take Todo out of the fight in a single blow, despite Todo focusing all of his energy to block the damage, which even true form Sukuna is struggling to do in the current arc of the manga. Mahito is shown to be a consistent match for Yuji's striking strength and by far surpasses him by the end of their battle, only losing to Yuji's incredible ability to defy the odds and land black flashes, and the assistance of Todo, which is shown to be equally effective against practically any opponent regardless of their level. Mahito's body pales in comparison to his mind, however. With only a basic understanding of veils, which are a barrier technique that even characters like Ichiji can do, Mahito was able to interpret and expand his own fully functional domain with a closed barrier and sure hit technique imbued within, all while only having seen Dagon's domain before in his life. Even characters known for their genius and potential like Megumi couldn't replicate that kind of extreme personal growth. Even after Megumi has used his domain 3 times, he still couldn't close his barrier against Reggie Star. Whereas the 3rd time Mahito expands his domain, he is able to mimic a Gojo and activate his technique so fast that even Sukuna cannot take action against him before the domain was already complete. This incredible speed of growth and personal development is indicative of high intelligence, extremely rare among curses. There may not be a single character, curse or otherwise, that can match Mahito's creativity or rapid growth single-handedly. And in spite of all that, Mahito's technique is still so amazingly powerful that even he fails to grasp its full potential in the time he has with it. Idle Transfiguration is so powerful that it completely overshadows the durability and attack potency feats we just discussed while fighting anyone except the minuscule minority of characters who can protect their soul like Sukuna. Mahito essentially cannot be hurt in any meaningful way and insta-kills anyone he touches. This grants him defense on the level of Gojo's Limitless, and offense comparable to what Yuki's Star Rage is usually capable of. His technique also has endless creative applications. He can copy the traits of just about anything, turning himself or others into cars, blades, trains, animals, walls, and more. This grants him flexibility similar to Yuta's copy. In the same vein as Geto's cursed spirit manipulation, Mahito is able to collect and alter the souls of of even regular people to the level that they can stagger and damage high-end grade 1 sorcerers like Toto, using polymorphic soul isomer. For context, Principal Yaga was secretly eligible for the position of special grade due to his ability to slowly create cursed corpses like Panda that could operate independently. Yaga assumably didn't learn to make Panda until a large portion of his life had elapsed, whereas Mahito was able to create these transfigured humans that scale above Panda in attack potency, all within a few hours at Shibuya. If Mahito had been given the same amount of time as Yaga, it is easy to see how Mahito could be ranked as a special grade sorcerer without even acting personally. With this context and the previous comparisons, it stands to reason that Mahito may be the only curse spirit to surpass the level of special grade curse and transcend to the level of special grade sorcerer, as he is able to effectively mimic almost all of the abilities that the other special grades enjoy with seemingly no major drawbacks, even while low on energy. For the sake of clarity, I am not trying to say that Mahito would beat any of the special grades, just that his technique itself is as good or better than all of their techniques. Mahito's technique seems to transcend the boundaries of what is normally possible. By grasping the soul and manipulating it in the right way, Mahito has shown us that he is capable of granting curse techniques to non-sorcerers, which isn't otherwise possible, and it's believed that 80% of a sorcerer's potential is determined at birth. And even more ridiculous is Mahito's ability to negate the drawback of heavenly restriction while maintaining the benefits. In the case of Mekamaru, he is fully capable of fighting at peak level, never once commenting on a drop in cursed energy or range that he enjoys from his heavenly restriction. We are given even more evidence that Mekamaru didn't suffer from this alteration to his restriction when he is able to control a puppet from across Japan several days after his own death. Typically, when a cost associated with a binding vow is undone, its benefit would follow. So it seems that Mahito has the ability to override the will of the heavens and alter the natural order of his universe via soul manipulation. When considering that Mahito accomplished both of these feats casually with practically no effort and while he was yet to reach his peak, it's clear that even Takaba's comedian can't match Idol Transfiguration's alterations in consistency, permanence, or precision. Mahito's ability to ignore the rules of his universe and manipulate souls on a seemingly cosmic level has no better classification than divine. Even with Mahito's unrivaled creativity and talent, he was still incapable of fully realizing the potential of his technique due to his immaturity and lack of fundamental Jujutsu knowledge. We see this when Kenjaku structures his entire plan around acquiring Mahito's technique, and even though he could only use it a single time, according to Yuki Tsukumo, he was able to remotely activate it and imbue it within the barriers of the culling games to bring about a permanent change to Japan itself, single-handedly enforcing the rules of the culling games by making automatic changes to people's souls in order to punish those who fail to follow the rules by way of cursed technique removal and bend reality to accommodate any new rules. In addition, he was able to awaken dozens of sorcerers like Higuruma, granting them cursed techniques, all from just one use of Idol Transfiguration. In order to fully understand the kind of power that Mahito could have wielded at his peak, picture what Kenjaku would have been able to accomplish if Uzumaki's extracted techniques weren't single use. Mahito could change the nature of entire countries and bring about hundreds of culling games or single-handedly evolve humanity to another level over time. If Mahito had fully realized his technique's true potential, he could have very feasibly ended the entire world single-handedly. In conclusion, Mahito is a strong character with a godly technique that essentially has no hard limit on its power. Mahito constantly grows and perfects his abilities while finding new and flexible ways to surpass every other technique. It is abundantly clear why Kenjaku worked so hard to acquire this technique. In a single activation, someone with the proper knowledge using Idol Transfiguration has the potential to change the entire world as we know it forever. Thanks for watching. I hope you give me your take on what you think the most powerful and effective curse techniques are in the comments. But either way, I hope you stay safe and take it easy.